What's going on, guys? So you were looking at a giant pile of clay in front of me, and this clay was brought in from about an hour away because this is the material that we're using in the pond. And next to me, I got Dennis. How's it going, Dennis?
Doing good, doing good.
So just so you guys know, Dennis is an old cowboy. You can clearly tell. Just talk to this guy for 5 minutes and you know this guy's an old cowboy. He does pond. Well, actually, what do you do? I know ponds is part of what you do.
Parking lots, we do roads, we do drives, coming in and out of your places, and all this stuff. We do all the dirt work.
Any dirt work.
Yes, sir.
Yep, and we actually picked him up because we saw him doing work at our neighbors, who picked him up, seeing him do work down the street at another property that had a lot of material that needed to be moved to correct a pond that I guess wasn't really made correctly, right?
Right. It was kind of in bad shape.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. So we quickly learned that Dennis is a pond expert in terms of how you build this type of pond. Now, in terms of building like a pond that you might see in an amusement park or something like that, could you do that kind of stuff too?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, it just takes a little bit more time and labor in it to get it right. You know, especially if you're building it for like goldfish or something like that, some kind of historical fish or something.
Oh yeah. And ours isn't necessarily what I'd say difficult, it's just awkward getting into it, right?
Right.
Because it's about 4 feet from the edge.
Exactly.
So that's what he's been using this Takahauchi for, to get the material up to the edge to build down, which we'll show you here in a second. But when I first started trying to get the material to kind of line the pond and do what I needed, one company told me to use Select. Now, what is Select and why is it not the best material for this?
Well, Select is a sandy clay material.
Okay.
It's used for road bases and stuff. You can use it under concrete, stuff like that. But when it comes to sealing off for water, it don't do that. It lets the water drain through it.
Ah, because that's kind of what it's designed to do.
Exactly. It's designed to let the water drain.
Okay.
Where the clay don't. The clay slicks off, seals all the cracks.
Okay, all right. And if you still have some seepage, you can add, what, bentonite? Is that what it is?
Benzonite.
Benzonite, I'm sorry, benzonite to it. And benzonite does what?
It seals wherever the clay didn't seal. You can dump it into your pond and it'll automatically go to wherever the cracks are and go in it.
Okay.
You don't even have to work at it. Just dump it in there and let it go.
So do you think we'll need benzonite for this pond?
I don't think so, because you got a good sandy soil down inside there. You've only got, the only problem is you've got a little leakage from the bottom. Once this clay goes in there, it'll draw the moisture in that clay and then it'll tighten down.
Okay.
So
and
you should be in good shape.
And then I guess the other side of it is, how much clay are we putting in? I think at first it was going to be 2 truckloads, which is about, what, 30 yards roughly?
Yeah.
And then
we're going with 4 because we need to be at least 18 inches deep in your pond with clay.
Yep, because we're really close to the water table down here, too.
And plus we're going to dress up beside it on the sandbags to keep any leakage from going in it.
Okay, well that makes perfect sense. I know the biggest challenge we've had with ours, again, is gaining entry into it because it's surrounded by live oaks.
Right.
And you only have about a 10-foot little opening to be able to get into. That's why we have the dirt way out here that he's shoveling it over to the actual pond area. You know, from an aeration perspective, we're going to put the floating style that kind of has the pump from the center, and that should be fine for this, right?
That'd be awesome.
All right.
It would be. You just put your ropes out and tie it to your floating pump. That keeps it dead center of your area, and you'll fill up, and the ropes stay down. You won't even know they're there.
Oh, okay.
And your pump comes up. Then if you have to do anything, you untie a rope and bring it to the bank.
Okay, and overall length of project time, how long do you think this whole project should take? We started today.
Starting today, probably going to take at least about 3 days.
Okay, all right.
To get you fixed up.
All right, well, that's awesome. And you know what I always tell my viewers and people, when you find good people that you can work with, everything is so much less stress-free.
Right.
I mean, it's just, or so much more stress-free. It's just the fact that this guy does work for so many people. And it's funny, my neighbor who actually told me about you, he actually described you as salt of the earth, that you're salt of the earth man, doesn't curse, doesn't say nothing bad, just comes out here and is a really nice guy. And that's rare these days.
We believe in giving you your money worth.
Yeah.
And not rob you doing it.
No, I appreciate it. And he even is going to give me some pointers on the Mini X.
That's that.
Because I told him I could try to do it, but knowing me, I'd end up upside down and 3 ways sideways in my Mini X, and he'd be out here trying to save me. But no, this is what he does, and he's like a ninja on a Mini X. So he was operating a machine over at the neighbors, and I was watching him, and I just had like Mini X driver just envy. Man, you're really good. And I suppose you're just as good on the big machines too.
Oh yeah, I operate everything they make. It don't matter what it is.
And you got a grader as well, right?
Yes, I've got a grader and a roller and stuff, and you know, then I just rent the rest of my stuff because it keeps me maintenance free on theirs.
Yeah. Yep. I wanted a Mini X. My wife said, you know what, this is every anniversary for the rest of your life. Let's get it. And I got one, and I'm going to try to put it to work here a little bit if you'll let me try to work on some of this with you too.
I should have you where you can grade your road through here and make it smooth time I get through with you.
But I need you to be able to do that, buddy. I mean, pretty soon we're going to need to either put concrete or asphalt here, and I'm sure it's going to have to be prepped for it.
I believe in anybody learn the trade they want to learn.
Oh, that's good.
Because if something ever happens in life, guess what? You can crawl on one of them and say, hey, I can operate this.
That is absolutely true.
And I've had a lot of people tell me they can run them. Well, anybody can run one of them. Get in and start it up and drive it off.
Yeah.
But not operate.
Yeah, using it and being an operator is a whole different story. And I learned that really early on, getting the thing. I told the guy, this is not intuitive. This is not something that you just hop in and use. You got to learn it. It's like playing a musical instrument.
Exactly.
You know, it takes time. There's talent involved, I guess, but not much. It's really just spending seat time and learning how to do everything and do it the right way.
That's exactly
and then
right.
Paying attention to what's around you.
Exactly.
Ooh, you don't know how many times so far I've almost hit a tree or hit a person.
Your eyes has always got to be looking.
Yep.
If you don't, you're going to make a mistake. Hit your car or hit a trailer or hit a tree.
Yep. You know, it's funny. I had a viewer, and I'm going to, you know, I hate to bring like negative commenters up to light, but he said, you know, that's nothing. That's a toy. I operate a 100-ton, I think it was a Caterpillar or something like that, excavator. And I said, well, you couldn't bring a 100-ton unit out here. You'd crush everything, and it wouldn't be practical. It's good for whatever you're using it for, I'm sure. But these mini ones have their place, and they do the job they're supposed to do.
They're made for like people that does plumbing or electrical or stuff like that, or just home use like you're doing. If you need to dig your line out of here, just jump on it, dig your line, you're through.
Yep, and there's plenty of room for it. And the fact is, I don't need to worry about the rental process and get one delivered. It's here when I need it, and that comes in really handy. And for your jobs, I mean, you bring it out here for the time you need to do your job, and your whole thing is get it done, do it right, and get out of here, right?
That's right. That's right.
So
and I guarantee my work when I do it.
Well, I can tell just by meeting you that you're one of those salt of the earth folks, and that's a good thing. I bet you cook a hell of an apple pie.
Yes, sir, I do.
I just guessed.
Matter of fact, I am one heck of a cook. Just ask my wife.
I bet you are. You know what? We're going to have to get you out here and do some cooking stuff. I would love to see what you can do.
I can cook cakes, buddy, that'll make your mouth water.
And I bet you can do it in a barbecue pit, too.
Oh, yeah. I cooked biscuits for a year out there on our place when we didn't have no house. We lived in a trailer. I cooked biscuits and eggs on the barbecue.
You know, everybody watching this is going to know, like, I knew he could do that. You just look like the kind of guy that could do that.
Sir.
That's awesome. Oh,
cowboy cornbread and all that stuff.
Well, I got to share your story. So this guy fell off a ladder, punctured a lung, dislocated your collarbone,
broke it.
Sat in the hospital for 3 days. They didn't touch him.
That's right.
And what did you do?
I got up and went to the house.
He set the bone himself. Got up, went to the house. We had a conversation about pain threshold, and this man apparently doesn't have one, so it's pretty crazy.
I believe in my daddy was the same way. If he got hurt, he stuck a chopping axe down between his big toe and his first toe one time. All he done was hollered at my mama, come and help me pull the axe out. We pulled the axe out. One take the doctor, he wouldn't do it. He poured some turpentine in there and cleaned it all out and coal oil, and then he wrapped it up and he went on about his way.
Man, you don't hear about none of that anymore.
My granddaddy,
yeah,
snake bit. I don't know how many times. Copperhead bite him every time he'd reach in the corn crib and feed his old mules. He'd just shake him loose, go get some coal oil, wrap it with a handkerchief, and go on about his day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and if I fall off a ladder, I'm going to be screaming and crying until someone comes and saves me.
Well, you're probably like me, but not know you did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's broke? Yeah. Well, anyways, we're going to move on with this because I don't want to hold him up too much longer. I'm going to walk over to the pond. He's going to be moving more dirt over there, so we're going to take a look at what's going on over there. All right, so here's the Mini X. Got it all positioned. Put the 36-inch bucket on there with the butter bar. This is the path he's been taking. Quickly killed our non-rained-on grass. It's pretty much drought conditions here, so it's dry as can be. Hopefully by the time you all see this video, we will have had some rain. But he's been pulling over through here. Here he's coming with the load right now, right there. Then he's building a bridge or a ramp. And this ramp is going to allow him to take the tractor down in there. And it's probably a lot more material than you think. This was an entire dump truck load just to get to where we're at right here. Now there's a chance that you could get in right here, but there's actually plumbing lines that go underneath here and electrical. So we'd have to be super careful to build a ramp coming into it. So instead he built a ramp inside of the pond area. Then he's going to use the skid steer to get in there, spread everything out, make this thing look really nice and clean. And then once he does that, we'll be able to use the excavator to push everything in and get it all leveled out. It's crazy, once you have confidence using something like this and doing what he's doing, it's no problem at all. And that's the problem I have, is building that confidence to be able to do the stuff he's doing without worrying about that I'm going to hurt myself, break the equipment, or do a little bit of both. But I think this company he gets all this stuff from is a Takahauchi dealer. But that's what I've pretty much seen him using around here. I've read good things about it, watched good videos. I don't know who reads about tractors anymore except if you go online. But yeah, this is what we got going on so far. And if you're wanting to try to figure out how far in he is, so from here, right on the edge here, to there is probably about 10 feet, maybe a little bit more. And he's got to build a pretty nice ramp so he can get in there. And then I suppose because I have the mini excavator, I can get him out if for some reason he's getting himself in some trouble getting out. Very, very cool. But yeah, so the goal here is to take this material, which is all clay. There's the select material that I put in. You guys saw the video on that, and apparently that's not the best for ponds. This stuff, again, came from over an hour away, and it's very expensive to get over here because of the fuel prices. But we're going to put 4 loads of it in, and then it's going to be graded out so it's really nice and smooth. And this is going to be more of a bowl shape versus a pan shape that it's at right now, where it has the real steep edges to it. It's going to be more like a gradual slope going in. It's not going to be as deep as it was, which we don't need it to be because it's not going to be a swimming pool or anything, but it's going to be really nice. And we're going to put a floating aerator in the center. This right here, that's already here, this was pumped out to a barn that used to be on the property and had a pump inside of it, so that's no longer connected. And we need something that's easier to maintain, and we don't have to try to fish up the old PVC to connect to it. Plus they make a lot of really great systems that can either run off of solar or they can run off of the 110 that we have out here currently. But yeah, he's making quick work of the dirt. I mean, he just left and he's already coming back with another load. But it's coming along. Today pretty much has been getting the dirt put in place so he can have the ramp he needs to get inside of here. Then we have 2 more loads that are coming in so he can start putting it around the edge. And judging by what he's done over at the neighbor's property, man, he does really, really, really good work. So yeah, we finally got this project kind of moving along. He actually said putting the select down here was a good thing because you guys saw how mushy and soaked this was and how it was pretty much like quicksand. So the select helped kind of dry it up, and since we haven't had rain in over a month, it's really dry. So now it's the time to do it while the water table's a little bit lower and he can get all of this put in place the way he needs it. Again, this is the problem I'd have a challenge with right here, trying to drive out over something and hopefully it's stable. He's doing a good job with it though. Yeah, at first thought I needed a skid steer, but I don't really think I do. I mean, the tractor I have works really, really well for moving dirt. It doesn't move quite as much dirt, and it can't lift nearly as much, but it sure doesn't tear up the grass nearly as much either, and it does everything I need it to do. So I probably could have actually moved all the material with the tractor. It just would have taken me forever to do it. But he's doing a good job. So I busted the bad boy out, helped him out a little bit, but my bucket capacity is woefully inadequate compared to his. Ramp's coming along. It's been piled up and now he's essentially compressing it and then making it go down there. I think he's pretty much to the bottom now. Got to figure out what we're going to do with that. We might remove it. He's the one I actually recommend keeping it there, but we may have to remove it and cap it off. Sorry about the wind. It is incredibly windy out here today. But yeah, this is essentially the the first stage so he can get the equipment down there and start moving it around. But that's a pretty big skid steer, so part of me thinks maybe a smaller one would move around a little bit better. This is essentially 2 full dump truck loads of dirt. We're gonna have to figure out what to do about that post because I think he's butting right against it now. About 45 minutes has gone by. You can see how he's moved the material over there. He's off to get more load. So basically what we're doing is we're having to wait for the clay to come in because each dump truck load to circle and to bring it back roughly takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours because he has to take the dump truck back an hour and a half, get it loaded up, and bring it back out here again. So we can only really work as fast as material's coming in. We decided just take all this stuff down. We're not going to use it anymore. We'll have a floating aerator in there. And yeah, he's just going down the ramp, putting it all around the side right now. He'll build it up, smooth out the side. And once he's done doing all that, we'll use my excavator right here to push everything towards the center and then smooth it out as best we can. He's got a tamper he's going to bring out here for that. But this is what he's going to be doing for the rest of the day. So he's just bringing material back over here. The reason he's not bringing it over here is because the dump truck can't make it to this point without running over some of the PVC we put in place and possibly damaging it. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. He's going to be moving a lot of this into position. I may not capture every bit of it, but I'll definitely bring you some recaps of what's going on. Really, really windy, so every time he comes out here and dumps it, a bunch of dust comes down. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed it so far. Really, really cool guy. Really nice guy. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.